Welcome to Barca News. It is August 6, 2026, and the summer transfer market just got its first shock, its biggest shock, I should say, because it looks like Rodri, after having an agreement in place with Real Madrid, has now chosen Barcelona. What happened? What changed? Don't worry, I got all the information here for you. We have a lot to discuss. So let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Boo, and my God, what a shock, because ladies and gentlemen, the summer transfer market just got its biggest shock of the summer, maybe one of the biggest shocks in the most recent transfer markets that I can recall, because Rodri, after having an agreement in place with Real Madrid, and when it seemed that it was all done, that Rodri was going to wear the Madrid jersey next season, it looks like the Spanish World Cup winner has chosen Barcelona over the Madrid-based club. So what happened? What changed? Not just for Rodri, but for Barcelona, because up until yesterday, Barcelona had no intention of signing Rodri or any other midfielder. Don't worry, because I got all the information for you, correlated timeline, all of it. I have it all for you. But let's start with Rodri himself, because, of course, after winning the World Cup, he embarked on a mission to pick his next destination, because he had considered that his chapter at Manchester City had come to an end. And with his contract expiring next summer in 2027, Rodri decided that he wasn't going to renew, and that instead he prioritized going back to Spain, his home country. And of course, that's when Real Madrid entered the equation, because ever since the departure of Kroos, Modric, Real Madrid's midfield has been non-existent, and this is exactly what they needed to kind of fix that huge problem that they have on the field, which is a fractured team with no midfield to link the defensive and offensive blocks. So Real Madrid pounced on this opportunity, reaching an agreement with Rodri. And of course, the only thing left was for Real Madrid to reach an agreement with Manchester City, who were asking for approximately 80 million euros from the Madrid-based club. Now, Barcelona did make an inquiry when all of this was happening. However, there was no interest by Barcelona to sign Rodri, not because Rodri is a bad player. Obviously not. He is the best defensive midfielder in the world. Ballon d'Or winner, Champions League winner, World Cup winner, World Cup MVP winner. So this was clearly a perfect signing for Barcelona, especially since he had trained with Pep Guardiola, so you know he's going to fit like a glove. But that wasn't Barcelona's concern. But the reason Barcelona were not interested in signing him was because, of course, the midfield was never a priority during this summer transfer market, even after the injury of Frenkie de Jong, because we have so many midfielders, right? We have Pedri, we have Bernal, we have Frenkie, who, even though he's injured, he will recover, right? Frenkie is not gone. He's still on the team. We have Olmo, we have Fermin, we have Marc Casado, we have Tommy Marquez, we have Eric Garcia that can play in that position. So Barcelona's priority was never the midfield. Their priority number one was the center forward, which, by the way, we still have not signed. So what happened? What happened? How did we go from Rodri reaching an agreement with Madrid and Barcelona not being interested to a high probability that Rodri will wear the Barcelona jersey next season? Well, let's start with the player himself, because he was determined to join Madrid. The agreement was in place. But what happened is that Madrid put that operation on the side in order to focus on Yon Diomande. Now, even though Fabrizio Romano said, here we go, I think it was a week or two ago for the Yon Diomande deal, that deal is not done. It's going to happen, but the agreement has not been reached yet. Madrid are still in talks with RB Leipzig for the transfer of Yon Diomande. And of course, that upset Rodri, because Madrid had completely neglected him. And they're saying also, between Madrid neglecting him and him feeling, you know, like he's kind of like, I don't know, a second option type thing. They're saying also Barcelona, his teammates, at the Spanish national team, the Barcelona players, you know, Lamine and the likes, were whispering in his ear, like, dude, come to Barca. We have a great team. Most of us are Spanish there. Like, Flick is amazing. So between those two, it looks like Rodri changed his mind and now prioritizes going to Barcelona. Now, this rumor broke out last night. In fact, a lot of you were mentioning it in the podcast. in the chat section, and I said, nah, that has to be fake news. Well, I'm here to eat my words because it looks like this is real. Rodri got upset with Real Madrid and now has chosen Barcelona. Now, today in the morning, of course, Barcelona woke up to this news that Rodri wanted to come to Barca, and Barcelona's position was, look, the midfield is still not the priority. We're focusing on the center forward. But if Rodri makes a move, comes to us, tells us he wants to come, then we'll proceed with negotiations and attempting to sign him. Because again, he was never a priority. The midfield was never a priority. Well, lo and behold, hours after that, it looks like Rodri, through his agent, called Barcelona and said, yes, this is true. I want to come to Barcelona. But it didn't end there. It didn't end there because Rodri then, through his agent, obviously not personally, contacted Real Madrid and informed them that he now prioritizes joining Barcelona. So now Barcelona have started making moves now that Rodri has clearly told the club that he wants to come. And they are currently in talks with the player and with Manchester City. Now, it's reported that Manchester City prefer to transfer Rodri to Barcelona because they have much better relationship with Barcelona than with Madrid. Relationships are pretty sour between them and Madrid, especially after the whole Ballon d'Or debacle. And they were saying that Manchester City wanted 80 million from Madrid, where they're willing to accept between 50 to 60 million euros from Barcelona for the signing of Rodri. Now, I want to clarify something. I want to make something very, very clear. There is no agreement in place. Talks are underway. Things are moving very, very fast. And I'm going to be monitoring the situation. Of course, if things change, I will make another video later tonight. But right now, there is no agreement in place. I want to make that clear. But Rodri has chosen Barca. He has communicated that to Barca. And Barcelona are currently moving, and they're moving quick. They're moving quick to reach an agreement with the player and with Manchester City, who have decided to respect the wishes of Rodri. Whatever Rodri wants, if he wants them to negotiate with Madrid, they'll negotiate with Madrid. If he wants them to negotiate with Barca, they'll negotiate with Barca. Sounds familiar, Atletico Madrid? Probably not, right? But I want to make it clear. No agreement has been reached. Talks are underway, but many reporters, including Gerard Romero, are saying that this is 100% happening. Now, I am not going to say 100% because you can never rule out a club like Madrid. Madrid need Rodri a lot more than we need Rodri. So do not rule out one last push from Madrid. And given how Florentino Perez has been throwing money left and right, do not rule out maybe him offering double the salary to Rodri than what Barcelona would be willing to offer him, offering double to Manchester City. So, calmness. It's not done yet. It's looking like it's going to happen. But until those contracts are signed, you can never rule out Madrid out of the fight. Now, if Barcelona were to pull this through, what does this mean for the club? Let's look at the the pros and the cons, and then you guys let me know, what do you believe? Pros, obviously, Rodri, world-class midfielder, the best defensive midfielder in the world, World Cup winner, Champions League winner, Ballon d'Or winner, World Cup MVP winner. There's no doubt that Rodri would come to Barca and immediately have an impact. Not to mention he trained under Pep, so we know he would fit like a glove. There's no adaptation, none of that. That does not apply to Rodri. So he would immediately improve the team. Number two, this would be a huge blow to Real Madrid. It would be a bigger blow to Real Madrid than a benefit to Barcelona. Why do I say that? Because Madrid don't have a midfield. They haven't had a midfield since Kroos left. Madrid need Rodri way more than Barcelona need Rodri. So this will be a huge blow to Real Madrid as far as their sporting project. It will be a huge embarrassment for Florentino Perez to lose a signing that was done. The agreement was reached with the player. All he needed to do was pay the transfer fee. And for this to happen, it would be a huge, huge embarrassment and a huge blow to their sporting project, because I don't care if they sign 10 million diamondes. As long as they don't have a midfield, it doesn't matter. Those are the pros. Rodri would hugely improve Barcelona, but it would be even a bigger blow to Madrid than it is a benefit to Barca. Now let's look at the cons. The cons. We have a stacked midfield. We have a stacked midfield, and this was not a priority because we still don't have a center forward. Second con, what's going to happen to people like Bernal? Bernal, 19 years old. He's in a very critical phase of his career, a phase during which players need to have minutes, and if they don't, they plateau. So the question is, are we sacrificing the future of Barcelona with Bernal for the short-term gain of Rodri? That's a question that only time will tell. And number three, well, actually, there's still number two. What's going to happen to players like Casado, Tommy Marquez, even Frankie, right? Even though I think if Frankie leaves, I would not be too upset about it. So, and number three, which is kind of related to number two, how are we going to sign a center forward now? Because if we spend 60 million on Rodri, what's going to happen? With what money are we going to sign a center forward? Which we still do not have. So there are pros to this operation. There are cons. I want to hear you guys' opinion. What do you think about the signing of Rodri? If it happens, I want everybody to maintain calmness. This has not been done. Do not rule out Madrid, but it's looking like it's going to happen. But let's stay cautious. Let's not count our chickens before they hatch. But I do want to hear you guys' opinion. Let's do a few comments and then we'll end this because I do have to go back to work. I had just gotten back from court, and right before I started working, I was like, all right, I need to do a quick live. But let's do. I saw a couple of donations. Let's do the donations, a couple more comments, and then we will wrap this up. And then don't worry, I will make another video later tonight because, well, we have to discuss this because there's going to be developments. Clarence, who says, bro, dude, what a shock. I think this has been one of the biggest shocks in the transfer market in the most recent, I don't know, 2-3 seasons. Definitely a shock, but let's see. What else? I saw another donation. But thank you, Clarence, for your donation. And then TF52, thank you, my friend, for your donation. But he says, if this happens, let's point and laugh at Madrid. Tomorrow is my birthday. Mo, let's go. Happy birthday. Well, happy early birthday. It's not your birthday yet, but happy early birthday. Maybe this was the birthday gift that Destiny had for you. And Bhagva says, hi, Mo. Kartik from India. I have been following the channel, but this is my first time live. No, there will be healthy competition for midfield. I hope so. I think so. I mean, shit. Rodri is definitely going to improve the midfield by a lot. And Brahim says, Mo, Marc Bernal is so young. Okay, he shouldn't be playing that many minutes. Sharing those minutes and knowledge with Rodri isn't bad at all. Actually, it is. Not the sharing knowledge, obviously. I'm sure Bernal's going to learn a lot. But 19 is a very, very critical stage of any player's career. That's why players that age are always getting loaned out. Because at that age, players need minutes. They need to be playing. Otherwise, they plateau. Their progress goes from this to this. And let's see. And Costa with the donation. Thank you so much, my friend. But Costa says the Negrita drop is coming, Mo. Oh, shit. I didn't even think about that. There's so much news flying around about Marc Bernal. I did not even think about that. But you're right. Yeah, expect some headlines about Negrita probably this week, especially Barcelona go through with the signing. I don't know what's going on with my camera and the focus. Like, it just keeps going crazy. George says Fermin Lopez and Almenader false 9. Maybe. We also have, of course, I have a feeling like it's going to be mostly Anthony Gordon in that false 9. But we'll see, right? With Hansi Flick, you never know. That's the beauty about Hansi Flick. He's always 10 steps ahead of everyone else. And Waffle says, not sure how I feel if this happens. 1, we let Madrid drown with an awful midfield. 2, we're stacked with midfield. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. On one hand, it's a huge blow for them. On another hand, it's like, we still don't have a 9. And now we have a million midfielders, which we already did. But anyways, that is all, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. I got to go back to work. Obviously, I'm going to keep an eye on this situation. I'm sure there's going to be more developments throughout the day, which I will bring to you later today. But thank you for joining me for this quick live. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Bisca Barça.